Welcome back to another episode of the Penny Stock Detective, where we expose pump and dumps, scam stocks, crooked cops, and dirty regulators in the Canadian markets and also the US and everywhere. Today, we're talking about Chinese scams. That's right, they're coming right out of China. China, as Trump says. And you know what they're doing? They're using AI. The Chinese are the best at everything. I got to admit, I mean, listen, they invented gunpowder, chopsticks, the compass, rice. Really, the modern world was mostly invented by the Chinese. And now they've invented the ultimate pump and dump. And what they're doing is a lot of these Chinese stocks, this is what we heard. We're hearing this from a direct source. You see these massive spikes in volume, massive volume spikes. These stocks are trading 100 million shares. Well, apparently there's a couple of groups. You know, why should I even tell you this? I mean, why should I tell you this? Look, I'm doing the job for the regulators. You know, all these regulators, most of them are lazy, especially the ones in Canada. These guys in Canada, like Mark Faulkner at the Canadian Securities Exchange or Susan Greenglass at the Ontario Securities Commission, they're not doing their job. They're watching video games all day and taking a 2-hour lunch, and they're waiting for their benefits to come in. I'm doing all the work as usual. So I'm going to expose to what they should have exposed to you, and that is what these guys are doing. We got some Chinese groups that are very, very sophisticated. Here's how the scam works. This is how they get 100 million shares of volume trading. They set up like 50 or more accounts. Yeah, literally, they got to set up about 50 accounts, and they're all on auto trade. They're like algo. They set up some algo rules for them, right? And basically, all these accounts, they just start trading amongst themselves. So all this basically goes on autopilot. And it's actually pretty simple. I mean, let's say you have the rules set up. You already plan to buy, like one group of accounts will buy at a certain level. The other accounts will sell at a certain level, and or whatever the algo is triggered. And if a stock doesn't have a lot of volume, right? Let's say it only trades up, 50,000 shares a day at, I don't know, $1, something like that, right? All you got to do is, put a market order in, put a couple of small orders in, and boom, it pops. It pops, 20%, which is not, take nothing to do it. And it sets off all the algos, and then everything starts working. So you launch it, and everything starts spinning. It's just, they all start trading back and forth with each other. It's like wash trading, okay? It's the oldest game in town, except in the olden days, you had to do it manually. You had to pick up a phone. It was all manual. Now, these kids today, they got it all running on AI and autopilot. And, I mean, it's right underneath the noses of these lazy cops. Especially, when you got a guy like Mark Faulkner at the Canadian Securities Exchange, the penny stock market in Canada is the worst. That guy, you know why people are getting away with this? He's the only regulator of any exchange that does not have a college degree or a law degree. Excuse me, forget about the college. Not that it means that. He's the only guy without a law degree. Can you imagine this? Imagine and that's basically I think it's called a quasi-judicial role. Yeah, because that's what it is. He's basically technically a judge. He's there appointed as a judge to decide if somebody's breaking the law, right? And he makes the rules, by the way. He can shut down a stock. Like he shut down one of our stocks fraudulently, and we busted him on that. There's a link in the video next to it. But yeah, this guy's a dirty, crooked cop. He's been caught committing fraud, fully documented, and he's too lazy going after real crimes, which is this automated pump and dump trading, terror financing, money laundering that's going on with the Canadian Exchange. You know what's going on in Canada? You got these, by the way, in Canada, it has a ton of these terrorist groups operating because, they'll let anybody in there. So you got all these Iranians, all these Middle East terrorists in there. And what are they doing? Okay. These guys are basically running pump and dump scams. Okay. They get involved with a penny stock. They pump it up, right? But they have their shares, their own. They have it ready. They give it out to all their cousins. So they got 20 cousins. They have 4% with one guy, 3% with the other guy. So there's 20 people that own 60% of the stock or whatever it is. And when they dump it, nobody has to disclose anything because they're all under that 5% rule. It's all perfectly legal, right? It's all perfectly legal. This is how these people are doing it. It's all under the nose of this Mark Faulkner, this dummy. Let me show you what this guy looks like. Let me pull this up. By the way, he's associated with a rapist and pedophile, which is Peter Nygaard. Right there. That's the guy. You see the guy with the mullet, the blonde, the older man? That's Peter Nygaard, who is sitting in prison right now for, being a rapist and pedophile. He's going to be extradited to the U.S. You Google that guy, Peter Nygaard.
The devil with blue eyes is what I call him. He asked me if I was interested in modeling for him.
And what's really interesting is right there, who the guy he's smiling with? That's the guy who's, right there in the picture with him. That is Richard Carleton. That is the CEO of the Canadian Scam Exchange. That's right. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you comment below? Do you think it's appropriate for the CEO of a stock exchange to be associating with a known rapist and pedophile, Peter Nygaard? This guy makes Jeffrey Epstein look like a Cub Scout, not even a Boy Scout, like a Cub Scout. I mean, really, this guy, you Google Peter Nygaard. That is the pal of Tricky Dick Carleton, who is, hanging out with him. And of course, next to him, you got, Rob Cook. That's the old man over there. And then you got Mark Faulkner. That's the fat pig at the far left. Okay. The fat pig at the far left. Let's pull this up again. Let me zoom in so you can see better. Okay. You see him right there. I'm pointing to him right there. The fat pig over there holding a champagne glass, toasting, the scamming you. That's Mark Faulkner. That's Rob Cook. And the other guy, that's James Black, and his boyfriend, Richard Carleton. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't know what's going on. It's like a Batman and Robin thing. It's like a Batman and Robin thing, maybe. I don't know. What do I know? I don't know. What do you guys think? You comment below. Do you think a CEO of a stock exchange should be hanging out with a rapist and pedophile? By the way, that picture's from the Instagram. It's still up on their website. He's proud of it. Richard Carleton is proud of it. And you know what? That guy is being sued by his own in-house lawyer. That's right. That's how crooked this guy is. Imagine how crooked you have to be. Imagine how crooked you have to be when you have your own lawyer turns against you and sues you. Look at the allegations. These are the allegations right there. Hang on, let me pull this up. So Tricky Dick, we call him, he's being sued by his former chief counsel. And here are the allegations. Financial improprieties include document backdating and cover-up by Marianne Palangio, conflicts of interest, securities law violations by, guess who? Mark Faulkner. That's right, Mark Faulkner. That's the uneducated guy without a law degree who is, he might be involved in insider trading. Apparently there were accounts or trades that might have been done with family members. We don't know. Listen, that's something that the regulators should be looking into. Now, the regulators, if you guys are watching, you better start doing your job because we're going to hold you accountable. I'm talking to you, Susan Greenglass, and you, Michelle Alexander, you lazy bums at the Ontario Securities Commission. You're basically parasites on the taxpayer dime. The Canadians, I mean, they're dropping dead in the streets because they don't have health care because, the country is going broke while these government parasites, these bureaucrats are doing nothing with this fraud. Now, I want them to investigate Mark Faulkner to see if he was involved in his family members, his son, Jalen, his wife, Kathy, other members, cousins, whatever, involved in trading penny stocks on the CSC that he may have given them inside information on. Now, I'm not saying that this happened. I don't know. I do have my suspicions because New World Solutions are news. That stock dropped very sharply right before it got halted. And he knew there would be something very, very suspicious over there. Maybe he gave somebody else the tip. There are some transactions that have been flagged by, again, the former chief counsel. That's a lawyer, a barrister, I guess they call him, Ken. He flagged Mark Faulkner as possibly conflicts of interest with certain transactions, possibly insider trading. I don't know. And of course, Richard Carleton, that's the fat pig right there, the fat pig over there. He's been abusive towards employees. I mean, yelling, screaming, saying all sorts of nasty things to women. What's fun? You know what's funny? Hang on a second. This is funny. Hang on a second. Let's have some fun. Show you. The hypocrites that these pigs are. All right, today we're talking about empowering women in capital markets, and we're also talking about rapist and pedophile Peter Nygaard and his creepy association with Richard Carleton, the CEO of the Canadian Securities Exchange. Let me expose to you what these hypocrites are all about, these scammers and grifters at the Canada Scam Exchange. So let's roll tape. Let's roll tape. Here we got a summit, girl power, empower women. They're doing an event. Let's watch this. You comment below. Let me know what you think of this.
Hi, I'm Marianne Palangio, and I'm thrilled to welcome you all to the Ring the Bell for Gender Equality today.
Ring the bell. We're ringing the bell. We're ringing the bell for gender equality. On the screen is Marianne Palangio, who, by the way, is allegedly involved with financial fraud. That's right, Marianne Palangio. Marianne, this beautiful young lady, is involved allegedly with backdating documents, according to their former chief counsel. Yes, he blew the whistle on them, and this is why he got fired. That's right. This guy got fired from the Canadian Scam Exchange because he did not want to be part of the cover-up. That is what happened. Jamie Anderson, we're going to link to his lawsuit. He got fired because he did not want to have nothing to do with the cover-up by Richard Carleton, their CEO, the dirty, crooked cop, and Marianne Palangio, that's their girl power CFO. She allegedly committed financial improprieties, backdating documents that have serious impact, okay? This is not a joke, folks, not a joke. I don't know. What do you think of this? Comment below. Is this something wrong? Well, let's keep watching, but first, feel free to comment. Let's watch this disgusting hypocrisy.
Today. And I'm also thrilled to introduce our special guest, Linda Kuga.
Linda Kuga. Let's meet Linda Kuga over there.
Who is
Milks and Cougars.
president of...
Oh, that's her. That's her. That's the old bat. And who's in the picture? Is that no, I don't get some, I don't know, whatever. Hang on. Here we go. Let's move this.
Both Room Women's Network.
She looks like a real battle axe, that Linda Kuga. Let me tell you that much. So who's the fat slob right there? Who's the pig? That's Richard Carleton right there. Richard Carleton. You see that? Tricky Dick. We call him Tricky Dick. He's the CEO of the exchange right there. Okay. Who's the guy behind him smiling? That big smile with glasses right behind Tricky Dick. That's Rob Cook. Okay. Both of them are being investigated. Okay. Both of them, we filed investigation requests with the Ontario Securities Commission and the RCMP, Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Again, so these guys are ringing the bell for gender equality. I'm assuming that also means diversity and racial equality. Racial diversity and equality. Now, it's, okay, by the way, right there, who's that pig right there? That right there. Next to the one in the pink, the one in the black outfit with the glasses, that is Tracy Stern, corrupt in-house lawyer. She's the one that is now part of the cover-up. She's the one that's doing the cover-up of the scams. I looked at the page of the CSE. By the way, don't be fooled, guys. This is the scam. Look at this. They try to make it look. This is a photo op. This is a fake photo op, guys. This is a fraud. This picture that they're showing you right there is a fraud because I think they rented these people or whatever it is. They're showing you like this little rainbow coalition. They probably manage this. Hey, you wear or whatever. All their executives are white. They're all white. And by the way, Toronto is like 70% like Indians, Muslims, Arabs, some black people, whatever it is. People from whatever other third world countries, whatever it is that migrates to this Kakistan. And you would think that they would have at least half their employees would be, of color, people of color. By the way, I can tell you, I've promoted how many Canadian penny stocks. Half my clients, 70% were Indian, Middle Eastern, or Asian. Yeah, that's like maybe 70%. And by the way, most of the shareholders are the same thing, immigrants. 70%, 75% of the shareholders of the penny stocks are immigrants. Why is it that the Canadian Scam Exchange, we're talking about this pig, Richard Carleton, why does he feel he could take the money? That's right. He could take the money from the community. Okay. He'll take the money.
Is leading the North American and the president of
Hey, let me zoom in. Let me zoom into that pig. Okay. So Tricky Dick. Okay. Tricky. Very tricky. White man speak with forked tongue. That's right. White man speaking with forked tongue. Okay. He'll take the black man's money, the Indians' money, the Arabs' money, the Chinese's money, but he's not going to hire them at the CSC. You want proof? I'll show you proof right here. Hang on a second. Let's zoom in. Let's zoom in. Hang on a second. Let me show you this about us. Executive team. There we go. About us. There you go. So this is their about us page. This is the scam again that they're pulling. Okay. I don't know, guys. When you see that picture at the top, you see this young black woman. You think that most of their employees are black, right? They're empowering. They're ringing the bell for empowering black women or women, right? Women. But in fact, this is who is their top executives. They're all white, all Caucasian Anglos, not even ethnics, all Caucasians, not even, I guess Palangio, I guess technically it's ethnic, whatever, Italian. But yes, and this guy, again, James Black, cultural appropriation. He's got the black name, but he's a white face. Okay, that's their scam. They want you to think that they have diversity. How about their directors? You see any people of color? Nope. This thing is whiter than the North Pole. They're whiter than the North Pole. Now, here's what's funny. Again, they're ringing the bell for gender equality, and I'm going to show you the hypocrisy because this guy, this pig over there, Richard Carleton, he's there with all these women, girl power. He's hanging out with a rapist. Like the day before, he's hanging out with rapists and pedophiles. Now he's doing girl power. And he's got the pig behind it. That's Rob Cook. By the way, notice for this picture, they bring, it looks like they got some, they got a black guy over there. They got, this lady looks like maybe Indian or something. So they got 1, 2, another black lady, 3, Asian, 4. So they got 4 out of 20. Okay, so they got 4 out of 20 or something like that, right? By the way, I'm not. Oh shit, I'm sorry. Hang on. Let me go back. I didn't have it on the page. There we go. Sorry about that. We don't have a producer. Guys, we need your donations. Please send money now. We need your donations. Click the link below. Give us a $50, 50,000, whatever you could spare, 100,000, 2 million. Click the link. Ko-Fi. It's on Ko-Fi. We need your donations immediately so we can keep bringing you this investigative journalism. Okay, this is a very important work that we're doing. By the way, all kidding aside, I make some jokes. Nobody is doing this. Nobody else out there is doing this because they don't have the balls, especially these Canadians. Nobody is exposing the Canadian markets except me. You know why? Because these Canadians, they all got that small dick energy. They're all part of the swamp. Okay, and I'm telling you the truth. I'm exposing these scumbags for what they are. So back to the photo. As you can see, you got this blackwashing, I'm calling it. They got a picture of a black woman, to make you think that they have diversity. No, everybody's white. They have, few, I guess they found some people from the mailroom or whatever, some, entry-level employees that they have of color, as they say. But no, everybody's here is white. Let's see what's going on. So that's hypocrisy number 1. Let's see what she's going to say, because I got something. Because let's talk about the rapist pedophile Peter Nygaard. Hang on a second. I'm sorry. Wait. Let's do this. Now I'm not even gonna edit this. I'm not gonna edit this because, why should we edit? You're just gonna see it. So again, the guy's doing an event for women empowering girls, and that's the CEO, Richard Carleton, with what looks like to be his best friend, Peter Nygaard, the rapist and pedophile. Peter Nygaard, rapist and pedophile, right there with the red arrow pointing to him, hanging out with Richard Carleton. And who is Peter Nygaard? Well, we're gonna give you a link, but hang on a second. Let's let me do this. Peter Nygaard. Let's pull this up. Peter Nygaard, Marina Del Rey. I don't know why this comes up. Peter Nygaard, Marina Del. You know what's funny? I actually, I lived in Marina Del Rey, and Peter Nygaard apparently was very active there. I lived there for a while. Then I had a boat there, and I think I've passed by that house. That's on what is it called? Speedway or something? Not Speedway. Whatever it is. Okay, so anyway, so there's one of his victims right there. And what is she saying? So Peter Nygaard, again, notorious for raping about 100 girls, 100 victims, some as young as 10 years old. Yeah, not a joke. And that's Richard Carleton's friend. Okay, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it's appropriate for the CEO of a stock exchange to be hanging out with a child rapist, Peter Nygaard, who's currently in prison? Now, again, I don't know the details of the relationship, but would you agree that, the board of directors of the Canadian Stock Exchange should have done something about this and said, hey, Tricky Dick, maybe you should remove that photo from Instagram. That's not a flex. Again, Richard Carleton, he thinks it's a flex to have a picture of him and a rapist and pedophile together, like you see over there. He thinks he's flexing. Now, I don't know. What do you guys think? You comment below. Tell me. Share your thoughts. Share your thoughts on this disgusting pig, Richard Tricky Dick Carleton. Now, this young lady, what is she saying? Hi, Peter Nygaard. How's life nowadays? How's your old house in Marina? Oh, here's your old house in Marina Del Rey. Nice house. Really nice house. That's right across from the beach, I think. Yeah. Your dear friend sent me to this house back in 1997. That's right. So she was basically trafficked. Your dear friend sent me to this house back in 1997. I had never met you before, and after that visit, I never wanted to see you again. What do you think that means? Unfortunately, you had me trapped in a fake management company and so on. Greetings from my new and free life. Now, we responded to her. We wrote, did you meet Richard Carleton, a short, fat guy, 65 plus with Peter Nygaard? We offer a cash reward leading to the arrest of Richard Carleton. Another victim, Alicia, saying, when I was 14, my friend's mom took me to his beach pad in Marina Del Rey. He rubbed suntan lotion, suntan oil on my body, and I was terrified. He tried to get me to go into his house from the beach, and I literally ran. I'll be 60 in September. I'll never forget how scary this was. By the way, this is real. Guys, this is real. That's Peter Nygaard. So this is a woman. She's talking about something from 45, 50 years ago almost. This is like 50 years ago. Can you believe this? What is the point of this? Okay, that's no joke. We make sometimes jokes on this channel. That's not a joke, okay? Peter Nygaard had a reputation as a sex predator, rapist, going back 50 years, 60 years in Canada. Okay, if you look at Wikipedia, I'm going to show it to you. Richard Carleton knew this guy's reputation. Okay, Richard Carleton is a very well-connected guy in social circles. He's a little social butterfly. Tricky Dick Carleton is a little social butterfly, prancing around, drinking everywhere. He's a very well-connected guy. Okay, his wife is a partner in a big law firm, Bennett Jones. By the way, we reached out to Tricky Dick's wife at Bennett Jones to ask about the relationship, if any. What is the nature of the relationship with the pedophile rapist, Peter Nygaard? We have not heard back. We're still waiting to hear comment from Tricky Dick's wife. And we're going to contact other members of the law profession to find out what is the relationship. Because this is a serious thing. I mean, you're seeing that stuff. Okay, this guy knew. This guy, Tricky Dick knew about Peter Nygaard, and he's hanging out with him. And he has that picture up on their Instagram to this day. The board of directors of the CSE has done nothing about it. That's what they think of girl power. That's the hypocrisy. That is the hypocrisy of the CSE. They do this ring the bell for gender equality, and the next day the guy's hanging out with a rapist pedophile. All right? That is what's going on in Canada. That's the two-faced Tricky Dick. By the way, very typical in Canada. All these Canadians, they're all two-faced. They all smile and polite, and then they stab you in the back. They file. They're all scumbags. Scumbags. Okay. Let me show you back to this. Okay. Let's see. Let's. This is, by the way, firsthand account of what is going on. Okay. I'm sorry. He's a very dangerous man, a predator. Thank you for telling this. Old bestie from Sweden. So this lady lives in Sweden now. These are real victims there. Talking about this. He should have known. These victims commenting on Peter Nygaard, and this is not even a big thing. Okay, look at this. So she's in Sweden. I don't know, whatever they're saying. But yeah, a lot of stuff. Anyway, let me show you about Peter Nygaard, because we will be investigating Peter Nygaard. Oh, speaking of which, here is another guy that's next on our hit list. This guy who looks like, I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think of that face? What do you think of that face? Would you give money to this man? Would you trust this man with your money?